Throw your ears on there real quick as I knock my hat off. I'll leave that on there for you guys to laugh at me.
Now, actually, in putting it in,
Yes.
wait a minute.
Make sure the bullet's pointing forward.
I get that. Yes. Not too much.
You're doing okay. Hey guys, how's it going? So this video is entitled Teaching My State Representative How to Shoot, and you're going to see us at the range in just a couple minutes here. But there's really 3 reasons why we did this video together. Now, first of all, I wasn't teaching her from complete scratch. She has shot before. She is a CPL holder, which is the Concealed Carry Permit here in Michigan. And she hadn't shot in a little while. And as a lot of you know, sure, you go through the things and the process to get your CPL. And the class is sometimes okay, and nothing against the instructors, but it doesn't generally teach you a lot about shooting guns. Because often there's a bunch of people around. You can be at a public range where it's hectic when you shoot your qualifying rounds. So, although she had shot before, she hadn't been concealed carrying, even though she has her permit. So, there's really, like I said, 3 reasons why we did this. First of all, State Representative Jamie Thompson. She's awesome. She's a really good friend of mine. She's a great representative, like literally my favorite state representative in Michigan. And she's a staunch Second Amendment supporter. Not just voting how she's supposed to, but no, an actual advocate. She's a freshman. This is her first term, and she's gotten in there right now. In the minority party, unfortunately, the Dems do control the Michigan government, but she's a true fighter, and she cares about the Second Amendment just as much as all of you. So, hey, a Second Amendment supporter and a good friend, that was enough just to go out to the range and shoot. But the other reason we wanted to do this is to bring all of you along for 2 reasons. First of all, the intent of this video that you're about to see on the range is to help maybe some of you that are out with your friends. Maybe you could reference this video or show it to them so they can get the confidence and maybe some skills. Some of the little things that I was showing her might help them out. So we definitely wanted to use this video to introduce some new shooters, and also just so that they can be more comfortable. Because when you're new to something, you can't take for granted, but it can be a little daunting at first. And while Representative Thompson had shot before, she just wanted to feel more comfortable. And that's very important to remind all of your friends or anybody you know who's new to shooting. Also, we should have a relationship with our public servants, especially on the local level. Look, by the time you get to Washington, D.C., I know, I get it. It makes your head explode, and it's a bunch of craziness. Local level, state, county, township, city. That's where you can be most effective, and I've talked about that a lot. So I also wanted to do this video to show you that you need to get more involved. If you have a Second Amendment defending or staunch supporter of the Second Amendment, like Representative Jamie Thompson is, we need to get behind them. So I also want to show you guys just a regular old constituent like me. I'm just like a nobody, regular person like you. But hey, we're not nobodies because we're really important if we all get together. And you're very, very important if you would just get involved. So I wanted to show you guys me hanging out with my state rep. She has a powerful position in Lansing, but at the end of the day, she's just a regular lady. She's just Jamie. She's my friend. And I wanted you guys to see me hanging out with a state rep just to show you how you can build a friendship and a relationship with while advocating for the Second Amendment with your public servants and your state representatives. So this is where this started. She came to my shop, sitting right next to me, right here, and we did a live stream together. So I'll leave a link to that down in the pinned comment if you guys are new to the channel or didn't catch that live stream. And we just had a really cool conversation hanging out with you guys. Now, before and after we started that live stream, I brought out like a couple dozen pistols and set them right over here. There's a table you guys can't see that's off camera. And this is where I started, and this is where you should start. I just said, why don't you hold these? We checked them to make sure they were all clear, safety first. We were very safe about it, but just one after another, we cleared them and checked them, and she just started holding different pistols. Well, we narrowed it down to a few, because it's hard to tell at first when you're hanging out into a EDU shop, and there's like a lot of selection. So we grabbed a few, and you're going to see as this video rolls on, the one that fit our hand the most comfortably was the Taurus GX4. So we took this and a few other ones. You guys know this is one of my favorite carry pistols. I have several. My wife has one. And we took them out to the range. Now, here's another thing. And if you can do this, this is awesome. When you're teaching a friend or family member how to shoot. We went, this following recording you're going to see was on a private range. Completely safe range. Nothing we could possibly damage. Nice, safe backstop. And there weren't a bunch of other shooters there either to make it where we couldn't have a good conversation, which unfortunately your luck's going to vary where you can shoot. But we had a nice, safe place where we could actually talk to each other and be hands-on and interactive so she could feel comfortable and so that we could kind of narrow it down. So enough of me talking here. Let's get out to the range. Remember to share this with all your friends, family that you think might benefit from a video like this. So I'm here with Representative Jamie Thompson at the range. How's it going?
Hello, guys. Good.
And we've been talking about all of the gun rights and gun control in Michigan, and now we're out here gonna get used to a few new pistols. Basically, I want to show you some things and see if you can maybe decide on something. So real quick here, I think about you being a state representative and you have to take that walk from the Anderson House office building over to the Capitol building. And up until very recently, your aides were able to protect you and themselves carrying a firearm, right?
Correct. Our staff within the House office building and the Capitol were allowed to carry. They were allowed to be CPL holders or open carry, and that has changed. The new rule is that our staff cannot carry in the office building or the Capitol. So representatives are still allowed to carry, and the public is allowed to open carry. Or CPL, they can only close carry.
Yes, they can conceal carry with the CPL.
In the Capitol, correct.
So with that said, you walking back and forth, we want you to be well protected, so we're here to maybe figure out a decent concealed carry option for you.
Yep, and I came to Micah because actually I am a CPL holder, and I got my CPL in 2020, and I want a refresher. I want to get something that I'm comfortable with, something that I can carry and I feel safe, and I think this is a good opportunity to use this as a refresher for me to hopefully show other women that to not be intimidated, that it is your right to defend and protect yourself. So I am hoping that this will reach some women and that you take that initiative to make sure that you are protected.
I agree, and there's thousands of different models of guns. They all serve a purpose. Some are better and worse than others, but before we started carrying, I had a whole table full, and we've kind of narrowed it down to ones that felt best in your hand, right? Mm-hmm. And that's very, very important. Don't just carry a gun that somebody else wants you to carry. You actually have to have it in your hand.
And I think that's part of the reason why I haven't really carried, because I haven't found anything I was comfortable with, and then life happened, and now I am looking for something that is comfortable that I will be carrying at all times.
Yes, and I definitely recommend everybody just get comfortable. The first conversations for carrying a gun every day is just to hold it. Talk to somebody that can help you answer questions, because it's like underwear or something. This is a very personal thing that just like fits your body in a particular way, right?
Yeah.
So you have to feel comfortable with it, how it feels in your hand, and then feel comfortable shooting it. So real quick here, when you're introducing anybody to guns, you need to always remember about gun safety, and it's very, very simple. You're basically going to treat every firearm as if it's loaded. Mm-hmm. We know these are unloaded because we just unloaded them, but we're still going to pretend they're loaded, and we're never going to point them at anything you don't intend to destroy. Now also, you see this in the movies a ton. Do not put your finger on that trigger until you're ready to shoot, no matter what.
You know, Micah, and that's something actually with our grandchildren at home. They have a couple of cap guns or BB guns, mm-hmm. and when they're playing, you know, cops and robbers, we make sure that if we see their hands on the trigger, or if they're pointing them up or down or at each other, that we're educating them, even with their toys. You know, this is how you need to hold it. This is how you need to pick it up. Always point it down. I think we can do that for our kids. I think that we need to educate our youth more on respecting firearms, because kids are going to be curious. They're going to, if they're told not to touch it, it's like dangling, you know, candy in front of a kid. I think that we, somewhere along the line, we forgot to educate our children and to respect firearms and to show them how to handle them. So even with the toy guns at home, we do that with our grandchildren.
Yes, you can practice gun safety that way. They make big boy toy guns that don't even fire at all, but they're used for training, and I think you're right. Training should start at a young age, and us as adults need to also be practicing these rules of gun safety. There's one more primary one. And that is, you're not going to put your finger on the trigger till you're ready to shoot. But then when you do, you also want to know what your target is and what's beyond it. So right here, if you take a quick shot down there, we have a large pile of dirt. We know what's beyond it. We know the bullets are not going to overcome this dirt, and that's very important. And the things with the rules of gun safety is, if you follow them, nobody's going to get hurt. That's very, very important. So I have a few options here, and there's, again, guns A through Z, but I was showing you a couple of these Taurus GX4 models. Particularly, we have 3 different flavors here. And when we were at my shop the other day, you were grabbing a few of them, and you said this one feels pretty comfortable,
yes,
right?
I like the, you said it was a pinky, the one that has the pinky, what did you call it?
Yeah, so there's different magazines that will fit this. We have the 11 round flush fit, makes it a little smaller. We have the 11 round with the pinky extension, and that one seems to hold nice in your hand. We also have the 13 round. So real quick, we're going to make sure this gun is clear. We're both going to look down in the chamber.
Clear.
We don't see any ammunition. There is no magazine in this firearm, so we're dealing with a clear gun here. I guess we can start off real quick. Do you want me just to shoot this one for you, just to kind of, you can see how it works?
Sure.
Because I know it's a new model and it's a little bit of a refresher.
Sounds good. It is a refresher. It's been a minute, but I'm ready to get back into it. I stand strong with our Second Amendment rights, and I feel like, especially with the climate that we're in right now, I need to protect myself, and I think my husband would agree.
Throw your ears on there real quick as I knock my hat off. I'll leave that on there. You guys will laugh at me.
And I have my glasses on because I am blind without them, so those are going to be also my safety glasses, and that is fine, Micah?
Yes, that's fine. You need to be able to see, guys. So if you're blind without your glasses on, and I would not take them off. Okay, so the firearm's empty here. I'm going to save a few rounds in this one for you, since you liked that pinky extension a little better. I'm going to load up 11 rounds. Now, keep in mind, I'm still treating this as though it's loaded, right? Even though we know it's not. Pointing downrange, I'm going to put the magazine in. Make sure that it's firmly seated in, because the last thing we want it to do is fall out, right? Keeping my finger off the trigger, I'm going to grab onto the slide. Now, what helps a lot of people is this. Instead of just keeping your hand still and pulling back, if you have weak hand strength, that can be hard. What I recommend is pulling back on the slide while also pushing forward with this hand. So it basically looks like a...
And that is something that I told Micah really, when he told me that, it really helped me, because I know when I did my training initially, that was harder for me. Just thinking that I was only pulling back, and when it's a push-pull.
That helps a lot of people because you're combining the strength of both of your hands. So I'm going to do the push-pull method, pull this all the way to the rear. Now I have a round chambered. This firearm is loaded, so I'm keeping it downrange. My finger's still off the trigger. I'm going to get in a natural shooting stance, looking straight forward towards the target. The type of grip I like to use is what's called a thumbs forward grip, where I'm sandwiching both hands together. There's a little spot here on these Tauruses where that left thumb can go. I'm going to bring the pistol up, looking through the rear sight, line it up with the front sight. One round went off. I took my finger off the trigger. Everything looks good still. I'm going to shoot another one. Now remember this, guys. Sometimes you're going to need to shoot as fast as possible. Because of a threat that's imminent, you need to stop them now. But when you're learning, I recommend taking it nice and slow. Notice how I'm shooting that shot. I'm taking my finger right back off. Breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Just kind of, you know.
Yeah, when I did do my seatbelt training in 2020, it was a more it was a hostile situation where we were, being screamed at, and threat, shoot, 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 threat, shoot, 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 and you were more, your adrenaline was pumping, and it was hot in the range. And how do you feel about that?
I'm glad you brought that up. There's a time and place for that. As you progress, that's very valuable skills to learn. Look, guys, if you can teach somebody new how to shoot, or in this case, we're just kind of refreshing you because it's been a little while, bring them out to somewhere like this. It's quiet. There's no high-speed instructors out there. And those guys are awesome, but so many people get intimidated, and it becomes such a stressful situation, they really don't want to come back, right?
Right, and I appreciated learning to control myself in a hostile environment, but sometimes I felt like you were missing a little bit of the instruction because you had other people, you know, you've got 8 people in a class, you've got someone down at the end, I think they were shooting an AR, and it was like 120 in the range, and they're screaming, and you're trying to listen to what they're saying, and yeah, it was pretty intense.
And that's why we're hoping this video will help a lot of you. Look, go out with somebody that you know and trust. In some cases, it should be like your husband and boyfriend, but actually not always. Sometimes it's nicer just to get with somebody else you trust so you don't feel like there's pressure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
So
sometimes you might listen to other people better than your husband. No.
Well, yeah. You can't talk back to me or else, right? So
hey, I'm the representative.
So basically, look at it like this, guys. You're not going to build a skyscraper. I don't know how to build a skyscraper. I'm not a Navy SEAL, but you have to learn how to put that footing down and get that first course of block laid before you can go any further. And I think these very initial things are just best done with somebody you trust, just nice and slow, calm.
Absolutely, I agree.
All right.
It's kind of like in nursing when we went into surgery. You would think that surgery would be a very, because it's you're performing surgery, sometimes open heart surgery or knee replacement. The mood in the surgical room is so calming and so relaxing, and things flow so smooth that it's exactly how you see or think it should be. Yeah. I remember when I did my training, I thought it's the most calm environment to work in is the surgical unit.
I think that's a good idea for teaching somebody how to shoot or refreshing them or whatever you're doing. Do you want me to shoot a couple more to so you can see how this works, or are you?
I can shoot it.
You ready right now, you think? Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is I still have a round chambered, okay, guys? I want to start off with this gun unloaded for you. So I'm removing the magazine, and I'm just going to shoot one round, okay? Just to get it empty for you. Okay.
So now you knew that there was, because you unloaded it, you already knew there was one still in the chamber, so you were releasing the one that was in the chamber even though you took the magazine out.
Yes, because this is a semi-auto. Every time you pull the trigger, a round's going to go off. The firearm's going to cycle. And if everything's working properly, it's going to pick up anew.
I think that's a point that I might not have caught until I just caught you do that, because you shot it without the magazine in it. So some people need to, especially if you're new or refreshing, that you still have a bullet in that chamber when you take out your magazine.
Absolutely. And that's why we're always following gun safety. We're still treating it as though it's loaded because it just might be, right? There are some guns that will only fire with the magazine in them. A quick note, I don't personally like those kind. In case I ever got into a situation where I had to use it for defense and the mag fell out, I would still like to be able to get that last round off to stop the threat. So to me, a good firearm should be able to fire without a magazine inserted. Okay, so we're going to start off. We're just going to check just to make sure that we are still empty. And we are. Okay. Now, I remember this one fits your hand a little better with the extension. So I'm going to step over here. And if you have any questions, just stop and ask me before you...
I'm going to point down range. I'm going to look again. It's clear. Now, actually, in putting it in, sit a minute.
Make sure the bullet's pointing forward.
I get that. Yes. And then you said to give it an extra...
Yep, just to make sure it's in there. We're in there good.
Okay, we're in there good.
Now to what's called load the weapon or charge it, you're going to pull back here.
That's where you said I can pull and push, right?
Yeah.
See, that was tight.
Okay. Yes, what you did do though is you did kind of ride the slide forward. We got lucky and it loaded. Next time we'll practice, I'm going to have you pull that slide back and just simply let go of it. But we are loaded. The firearm is hot. So we're now going to acquire our target. And once you get it lined up where you can see through the sights, then you can feel free to bring that trigger finger in and pull. So get your left support hand where you need it to be.
So you said I'm going to grip.
Yep.
I'm going to put my left thumb right here in this little groove.
Yes.
I'm going to rest my right hand on here.
Yep. Squeeze nice and tight.
A little bit forward. Not too much.
You're doing okay.
Now I don't have to rechamber it? It's already chambered?
Pull the trigger again and it should still be loaded.
You know what, this thumb bounces off a little bit. Is that normal?
That's okay. Just kind of in between the grip, just kind of tighten it up a little bit.
Ooh, I got it.
You're actually looking okay.
Okay, so now I'm getting ready to put it down. So I'm going to take my finger off the trigger.
Yes.
Now, we didn't work on actually pulling it out.
Okay, so to release the magazine, just gently set it on the table, keeping it pointed down range. To empty the magazine on this particular pistol, there's a button right here on this side. So we're keeping it down range. I'm going to push this in with your you can push this in with your thumb, and the magazine will come out. So you can try that.
Okay.
Just keep your finger off that trigger.
Off the trigger. Push. Wait, where'd it go?
Push this button right there. Okay.
Now you said it's still loaded.
There's still a round in there. You can either shoot it out, or we can pull the slide back to take it out. Your choice.
Let me shoot it out.
Okay.
So the same, but now I don't have a grip to hold on to.
So you're going to do the same thing. Your pinky's just going to kind of be hanging down there. Okay.
All right.
Now let's pull the slide back to confirm.
Trigger. It's clear.
And we are clear.
We're clear. Let it go.
Okay, so this was a, let me scoot back over here real quick. Sorry about that. So this is a 9mm, which is America's most popular caliber, certainly suitable for self-defense, and I think almost everybody's opinion. How did it feel in your hands as far as what's called the recoil goes, as far as how much it pushed back on you and wanted to snap up?
It didn't. It felt like I could learn to control it.
Okay.
It didn't feel bad at all.
So I noticed it
felt better than other ones that I've shot.
That's excellent. Yeah. I noticed it flipping a little bit on you, but that's totally fine right now. It's just like everything. You go to the gym and you start working a certain muscle, it's going to be sore and you're going to quiver, but the more practice you get, you're going to fine-tune those motor skills to really grip it tighter and stuff like that. We're going to try one more while we're here. This is a 380. I just want to get her opinion on this. And here's why. This gun's small. This one's even half the size.
Yes.
So this is the Ruger LCP Max 380. Let's make sure this is empty.
Clear.
And it is.
Oh, but it's pretty comfortable.
I think it is too, actually.
So now push forward and back. Right?
Yep. All the way to the rear, and then...
I didn't snap it hard enough, did I?
But I think we still loaded the round. Next time, just pull it back and let go. But I think we got it.
So now this one has a little bit of a different... Doesn't really have that thing there.
Exactly. But
now,
I think
is this one going to be less fire? Or less kick?
It might feel about the same, because it's a little bit weaker round, but it's a smaller pistol. But that looks pretty good to me.
Okay. Can I go?
Yeah.
I really like the way that feels. Just
Nice.
saying, yeah.
Try it a few more times. I think there's still some ammo in there.
Nope, we're dead.
And we noticed the slide did lock back. Now we can easily look in there. We're going to remove the magazine. There's a little button on the right there yet again.
This one?
Yeah.
Oops.
That part was totally scripted. She was just doing the old magazine drop test, obviously.
Keep it pointed there. Nothing in the chamber. Sit it down. Sweet.
So that's the little 380.
Yeah, that one was very nice. Like I kept wanting. Yeah, that one I felt like a little bit more control with.
So we'll leave with this for now because we have some other friends that want to shoot. There's no free lunch. The 9mm is more powerful. Okay, more powerful of a round.
To take out your
threat, your attacker.
Mm-hmm.
This is still a very small gun. This, a little less firepower, but it's much, much smaller.
Yeah.
So I think maybe we'll pick this up a little later and maybe talk about the pros and cons.
Yeah, because what we'd like to talk about next time is where we will carry, how I will carry on person.
Yes.
And based on type of clothing, I am a state representative, so we're wearing business clothes often. Normally I have a skirt on. Would I be interested in carrying in a purse, or would I carry on my person? So I think, yeah, we'd like to show you guys that too. I think that's something that would be very useful to the...
I think that's very valuable, because I've talked about this before, and if you guys are new here, look, we're two totally different people, different professions. The nice thing about both of us is Jamie's the same person in real life as she is in Lansing. And so am I. However, our attire changes drastically. You're hanging around here on the range. You could comfortably carry a whole plethora of guns.
Sometimes you have a dress on.
But then when you go to the Capitol, you're wearing a dress or a business suit. This is no different than me if I'm on a lawnmower versus if I'm trimming hedges or I'm up in a tree. So there are nuances with it. But I think we covered some of the basics today. And then we can go through maybe later in a follow-up video some different options. And
well, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And thank you, Micah, for having me. I definitely appreciate you. Mike, it's awesome. Keep up the good work.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Hi guys, thanks for watching and have a good one.